Hey guys, Chris here. I'm just making a short video. So this is sorry about the sound if it's not all that great, because this is the GoPro I just got, and I don't have the adapter for the sound yet because I didn't realize I needed one, and that's my fault because I didn't do enough research. Or I kind of did. I kind of knew. I had a USB to 3.5 that I was gonna give a shot, and it doesn't work. I guess it has to be the actual GoPro one. So anyways, the point of this video is, so the competition's coming up at the Pyramyd Cup I'm leaving day after tomorrow. So I recently found out that after I made the video of making the single shot tray. One of the events you have to have a single shot tray, which is why I buy equipment like this, so I can just make things when I need them in a pinch. I don't have time to order it, and there's not enough money that's going to get it to you anytime. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what. You only have a couple days. You can't get it overnighted from a Sunday. You know what I mean? It's just, you're not going to have enough time in some situations, and some places just don't overnight like that. And even if you find somebody that will, the chances of depending on that and the time it takes to get to you, you could make it. And I'm not making it out of shitty plastic. I'm making it out of solid aluminum. So anyways, that's what I'm doing right now, also in a different type of situation. So I'm making I know some people are going to hate me for this. I have to cut a barrel liner. So this is a 22. I need to have a 22 caliber. This is a 30 caliber, but I'm not using this. This is just a template for how long it needs to be. So I need to cut this down to that size, and then I'm going to sand and polish the end of it at 600 millimeters because I have a 600 millimeter shroud. And then I also, the 30 caliber spacers for the ultralight liner are too wide, so I could just beef this up a little bit on the 22, and I could just beef it up a little bit and then make them fit with like electrical tape or something like that. But I have some smaller ones from a 177, and I'm gonna just machine these out a little tiny bit to get this to fit through them. And then I'm going to take the probe from a 25 caliber, because I actually have the slug probe anyway, so I don't really care about this. I'm going to machine this down on the lathe to be a 22, and I'm going to make all the parts to make it into a 22 by myself. So I'm not buying any parts, I'm not doing anything, I'm just going to make it a 22. The only problem I have is I don't have a magazine that's 22, but I have to single load one of them anyways, and I'm going to make a shot tray for it. And also, luckily, I'm shooting for Doug from Stud Mag Loader, so I'm going to let him know I need a couple 22 magazines for the crown. So that solves every aspect of that problem. So I'm going to cut this on my bandsaw, and I'm going to use this guide right here to, well, that's not going to, yeah, I could just keep this. No, I think I'm just going to have to mark it off for this. Let's see, let me just stand these two up. Let me try to show you guys what I'm doing. So I'm going to just put these two on my welding table because I know this is flush. And I'm going to mark this a little bit longer than it actually needs to be, because I'm going to sand and polish it down. So I'll cut it slightly longer than I actually need it, because the bandsaw doesn't always cut 100% straight. And I need it to be 100% straight. So after I cut it, I'm going to sand it down on the belt sander, which I actually bought a belt sander as a belt sander, a desktop belt sander. And is this thing on? A desktop belt sander, and I converted it into half a grinder and half a belt sander, because I actually was stopping the sander with some of the stuff I was doing because it was not powerful enough. So, and I put it on a pedal. There's a foot pedal here that I use for that. But so the grinder is half a belt sander, half a grinder. I had the grinding blade on one side and a wire wheel on the other, but the wire wheel I could just use on a die grinder. But anyways, that's the belt sander, so it's got a lot of power now. before it was just on a small motor, and I was gonna adapt a big motor to it, and then I looked at some online, and I'm like, oh shit, these look just like a bench grinder. And then I thought about doing it that way, and I ended up obviously doing it. But anyways, it's just another one of those things. Maybe I should have made a video on that and show you guys how to do that. But anyways, I think I've been doing a lot of air gun stuff. I should probably make some videos on other stuff that I do. Alright, let me clamp this down. That's right. I'm gonna put it right there. This is just a cheap Harbor Freight. It's not cheap, but like $400 for this. The bigger one that Harbor Freight has is like $1,100. And honestly, I probably would have got it because it's really cold. I mean, I don't cut all that much metal, so I probably don't need something like that. So there it is, cut or broken. See, but it's not totally straight. It's definitely not totally straight. So I don't know if you can tell from the video if it's not totally straight. I mean, this thing's supposed to have really good quality. I haven't seen any video from it yet, but I will see it after this. Okay, so now I'm gonna just take this over here and sand it down and get it straight and smooth, and then I'm gonna polish it, and then just ready to go. The oven, by the way, I have an oven in here because when I powder coat, to bake the powder coat. I'm going to use an angle tool that will show you the degree of angle of this. And hopefully this will be able to tell me if I'm straight or not. Straight. I think I can zero it. Alright, let's put it on a 45 degree pitch that I know is a 45 degree pitch. Alright, so I'm going to just put this right here, line it up with the square. So I know that's a 45 degree, so I'll start a 0 right there. Right? That's right there. 0. Boom. Okay. Now, well, that's 0.3 already because it's moving a little bit. But yeah, that's definitely got to get that down on the outside a little bit. Go to my right. So it's not very far off. It's pretty close. Just about there. I got a little more I can take off. Hopefully the sound is not too bad without me having a mic on me. I realized when I'm walking around, I was making the videos before I got the microphone and stuff, that the sound kind of sucks when you're moving around, but hopefully it's not too bad. Here's my square. There we go, that's it, that's on. Okay, now let me see where we are on length. Let me show you guys what I'm doing. This is the piece of this barrel. Okay, let's see how the length is. I'll show you guys what I'm doing with the length. And then once I get this sanded down, I'll polish it off camera. I actually have to go a little further. I have to take a little bit more off of that. I'm gonna have to sand it down too. So anyways, it's just more of what I'm already doing. So I'll do this off camera after. I'll just leave these here, and I'll just sand it down a little bit more when I'm done, and make sure that it's square, the same way I just did. And then you see the finished end from the one that the end that I cut. It's just a little rounded, which is just sanding and polishing. It's probably the same thing that they do, or they might use a lathe on the end. Probably, I could put it on the lathe too. Either way, that's what I'm gonna do right now. Anyways, I'm gonna put it on the lathe. Put the pin probe on the lathe, or the pellet probe on the lathe rather. And I'm gonna machine this down. So I'll show you how I'm gonna take the measurements. So I'm going to take the micrometer first, which this has to be closed and zeroed. So this is from 0 to 1 inch. It goes in, you know, I think this goes down to hundreds of a thousandth of an inch, or 10 thousandths. It's very small increments. So this needs to be zeroed. Okay. Alright, so let's get the diameter of the one that we need it to be. So this is a 22 pin probe, or pellet probe rather, for the FX Impact, which is the same thing, just different mounting. So 0.21855 increment, 0.21855. All right, 0.21855. So I need to get this diameter. All right. Okay, 25365. Alright, there's 0.25365 minus, what the hell was the other one? It was 22855. Too bad I can't play the video back that quick. 21855 minus 21855. What the fuck? That's son of a bitch. 21855. Let me write that somewhere. 21855. 21855. Alright, 21855. That's just a regular calculator, so the fractions are screwing it up. 25365. 25365 minus 21855. 35.1 thousandths, or I'm sorry, it's 0.3510. So now I'm going to take this dial indicator and I'm going to mount this in the clamp rather, the chuck. That's the beginning of a shroud for some silencers I'm making. That's obviously a much bigger thing than this. I'm having to turn this forever. Okay, right about there. Clamp that down. And this dial indicator is going to go into, I'm going to use this tool holder. This is actually another thing I made on the CNC right here. This holds a, I mean, you can set this to make threads, but there was another video on YouTube that I saw, and they made a thing like this, but it wasn't out of aluminum, to hold a tapping bit, and made the threads right on the side of the piece that was in there with this, and it was much quicker than setting up the lathe for it. So I gave it a shot. I made one, and it works. It's actually pretty convenient. Maybe I'll make another video on how to use that. But that's to make outside and inside threads either way, and you can make them without having to do too much to the lathe. So if anybody makes threads, then you understand it's a pain in the neck, and that thing's worth making. Just because of all the adjustments you have to make on the, unless it's a CNC lathe, obviously you don't have to do anything. It just does it by itself. But all right. So now this is the dial indicator is gonna go right up to the base. I'm gonna back it up, and then I'm gonna use the smaller adjuster. All right, now start backing this up. Let me see. Can you guys see what I'm doing? No, probably not. Put this up. All right. Sorry, you don't want to look at my ugly mug. Let's get you over here. All right, so I'm trying to line this up. This is going to have to go down a ways. So just leave that loose until I figure out where it's going to need to be. We want it right in the center of it. Let's bring it a little closer and see. Oh, actually, gotta go up a hair. So this is for how high up it is compared to the work on that setting, and then this is obviously going in. And there we go. All right, so I'm just touching off. Let's just touch that a little bit. Tighten this down. All right. So after tightening it, it's actually a tiny bit higher, so I'm going to lower it just a half a thread. Okay. Now it's touching right there. Alright, so I want to go down to right around there. Now, let me set this thing so I can actually see where I need to be. So the dial indicator, let me show you guys what I'm doing. The dial indicator is set right where it is, right? So it starts at just under 45, which I can adjust that. But so then you have this little adjustment thing here. I'm gonna move that to where I need to be, so I know exactly how far down I have to go. And then I'm gonna keep that in mind on this dial. And then when I put the cutting bit in here and I start to go down, I'll get to that increment here, and I'll take exactly that much off. So hopefully you guys, I'm describing that so you guys can understand it. Let's see. So that's going to translate into, what's the number? 3510 out of I feel good that I got that same measurement on both of them multiple times. Alright, so 25. So 35 is going to be 3. So 40. I wish I gotta get this to start at 0 because this is going to be a pain in the neck. Some of those small pins or something. Okay. There's like a little O-ring on the band of this, and you can adjust it down to make it start a little lower. But I don't know, it's not really cooperating. Oh, there we go. That's what I got to do. You can just turn it. Hello. I have so many different dial indicators. I actually have a digital one I could use. Here it is right here. I could use that too. But this is built into the mount, and actually the analog ones are more accurate. There we go. Now I get a 0. Perfect. All right, so right there to. So I'm touching off at. Okay, so I'll use after I'm done with this, I'll use some acetone and I'll just wipe this off. But I'm gonna mark it for right now. And this is going to be where it's going to touch. Right, and then I need to go. What was the difference? It was like 35. I'll say right there, 35, because I can just sand it down to be perfect. 35. So I'm going to mark this. Oh wow, it's like almost a full circle. It's like literally right around and past the first line. Just to that second line, just past it. So I guess one rotation on here is right around that amount. Just over, yeah, okay. Alright, that's that. Let's back this up a little bit more. And put the cutting bit in here. I think I'm going to use this one. Of course it's coming from the other side, so I'm gonna have to turn this, and I can't do that. I'm gonna have to, no, I gotta turn it around, because I can't move this now, because if I move it, those measurements are gonna be off. If I move, oh, this is not even right, hold on. Let me, you know what, I'm going to use this one for the dial indicator, and I'll take the dial indicator one, because I already have my measurements for this, so this part doesn't matter. I don't need to use this again. For this anyway. So, oh, well, that's why I didn't have it in there. It's not got to be on that side. Well, anyways, I'll put this in one of the other ones later. I'll use that for something else. But I needed one of these, because I need to be on this side. And for the lathe, again, I used a pedal, which you also have a button that you have to hit to turn it on, but the taking your foot off the pedal stops it. So it can, you know, if you need to stop in a hurry, literally all you have to do is lift your foot, which does definitely happen from time to time. Okay, so this is going to be a lot further depth, but it's still the same amount of rotation on the wheel, which is what I needed to know. Alright. It's just about there, so I need to be right at there. Alright. Nice, okay. Alright, let's crank this down. I actually want to go a little bit lower. Okay. Whenever you clamp it down, it makes a difference. It always moves out a little bit. When you're trying to be really precise, it makes a difference. still have to go a little bit of the way, but I just want to see it's hitting it unevenly. Okay, well, let me see where that is. So this is the only part that is, it comes in handy to have a digital one because I can just zero it right there. And keep zeroing it until it's actually on zero. Oh, well, I'm actually hitting it a little bit. Let's back that up. And then hit zero. There we go. Alright, so. Loosen that, and I think because the way that this pellet probe is, it's a little bit tapered. So I think I have the wrong, because the chuck is pretty damn centered, and I have that on a dial indicator all the time. But I think that taper, I think I need to cut it a little closer back so that the taper is not in the chuck. Because the back of it gets a little fatter. That should do it. Well, it's definitely in a different spot, so that must be you see, there's only a little bit of wiggle in this dial indicator while it's running. It only goes, I mean, that's like 1/1000th of an inch. It's moving. It's a very small amount. Let's get a little bit of just a hair at the tip. I put it a little further down, and I don't know if it's too far. No, it's not too far. It's still over 2.2. Sanded down a little bit. So if the sanding will take that down to where I need it, then I'm good here. It's actually even a little bigger than that. Okay, so I can take it another notch. That's definitely, that's over almost 2.5. Check this. Maybe it's still going to be big. It's not crazy big, but yeah, that's only down to 236. So I actually need to go another couple times. Start slow at the end because of that opening. The solid part obviously is simple, but that opening I'm happy that you kind of want to start it off pretty slow. I think I'm going to be able to sand the rest down. Oh yeah, kind of bent it. That's alright, I'll have to fix that. Alright. Yeah, that's almost there. It's definitely close enough that I can do the rest on the sander. 2223. I need 2185. Okay, now I'm going to sand this down. I mean, this point of the video is probably kind of pointless because you guys already know what I'm doing. I'm just going to sand it down the way it was the other one, polish it, and then I just used a polishing, like a pad on a die grinder, or you know, I usually use one of the cordless die grinders and put the little like cotton polishing pad after I sand it down with some fine grit. So this is a heavy grit, like a 35. I'll do it with a 80 or 100 grit and smooth it out, and then I'll do it with a polishing pad, and that'll smooth it out completely. All right. So, anyways, that's how you make your own 22 caliber. Oh, I didn't machine out the center of those things, but maybe I should do that. All right. Let me throw this thing in here. I gotta change the bit and everything too. Maybe I'll make a separate video. But anyways, all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take these spacers that fill the super light barrel, and I'm gonna just take the right diameter bit for the 22 caliber outer diameter. I'm gonna measure the outer diameter of that piece of the barrel I cut, and I'm gonna machine this out exactly the right size. I'm gonna put this in the vise in here, and then I'm just gonna drop the spindle down and right in the dead center. I'm just gonna move this thousandth of an inch increments left and right, forward and back, until I get right in the dead center of this, and I'll drop it down right in the middle and make sure that it's dead centered when it actually hits it, and then I'll turn it on, and I'll just drop it through and let it make a straight hole so that it's perfect diameter, and it'll slide right on. I actually want to be a hair smaller because I'll force it that little tiny bit, but it's actually just such a small amount you can almost file it. But I mean, I have the equipment to make it perfect, so why not do it? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope I showed you something, and I will definitely make a video shooting this gun with these parts. Okay, bye. What's up, guys? Chris here. So I have a barrel in my hand just because I'm switching barrels, but I'm actually trying to show you I'm using the GoPro. I don't have the wireless mic for it yet because I have a regular wireless mic, but you need anyways, the GoPro Hero 11, if you want to use an external microphone, you have to buy either a media mod or the USB plug for it, and it goes to another USB-C, so you still have that, and then it also goes to a 3.5 millimeter, so I can hook up my Sennheiser microphone. But hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm going to try to use this at the end of the other video and see how it works. So here's the part finished. Here's the single shot tray. Of course, making the last cut, I make one more wrong move, and I got some marring in a spot that I didn't want it. But anyways, what the bottom line is that it works and it fits. So crack this, and then you put your pellet in, slide it right in, and it stops right there, and boom. Oh, no, slid it in 2 o'clock right there. See, that's from the marring. I may just redo it just because of that, because honestly that's going to piss me off. Right there, see right there. It should stop on its own right there. And it basically does stop on its own right there. But the notch that I cut out is like marred down because as I was cutting, so this is the bit that made the channel that's rounded, and it made not only the channel, but it made a marring right there. But I'm gonna redo it, and just that'll be as high up as this. But this is the exact diameter of the opening, and this channel that's cut before this was marred. This is the exact diameter with the barrel. So I already have all the measurements, so it'll be easy to remake it. So if anybody needs a shot tray made of solid aluminum for a HM1000X, I'll already have you know, all the measurements and everything, and I could make you one pretty easy. And then I'm gonna do one for the FX Crown, because the barrel I was just holding, that's actually gonna be my 22 caliber barrel. I'm gonna do 600 millimeter because it's got to be under 20 foot-pounds anyway. So no point making it 700 millimeter. I should probably even do a little shorter, but I actually have a 177, but I think that's, I don't use 177 for anything. I don't really want to use it. And this thing, I can't get this down to 20 foot-pounds, the HM1000X. I've tried to turn the regulators down so far. I don't think I can go any further before that nut backs off. And the hammer springs all the way down, and it's not 20 foot-pounds. It's not a crazy powerful gun, but it just doesn't want to go that low. So I'm gonna see if there's anything else I can do to get that to shoot a little slower, and then I'll let you guys know how I make out when I do a shooting video for the competition. But anyways, I wanted to just add this clip with the GoPro rather than the DSLR camera I've been using right here. This is what I usually use when I'm making the videos. This is a Canon T8i, and at least I can turn the screen so I can see what I'm recording, like this little screen on the front of this. This is small, which is weird, but it's really small. But the video quality seems to be really good, so we'll see. Hope you guys let me know. Thanks. Guys, what's up? It's Chris. So I started a short video before. I don't know how short. It was maybe a half an hour video, but I'm trying to show you guys some pretty cool shit. So I'm on the fly making 22 caliber everything for my FX Crown. This is a pin probe, or a pellet probe from an FX Impact, which I'm just kind of using as a template for some stuff. So what I was gonna do was just shave down the 25 caliber, but there was not enough meat on the pellet probe, the original pellet probe, for me to shave it down enough for a 22. Which I don't care about the pellet probe for that anyways. I have a pen probe, and I always shoot slugs. So I mean, other than competitions, I'm not going to need it. And you know, most of these things you need I need the 22s for two events out of 3 for this competition. So obviously the 22 stuff that I'm making, I'll save and use it for the competition next year or whatever other competition. But if I can't use it, 25, I got the Pantera, I got the Ed gun, I got the I got several guns and several 22, several 30, and just one. Well, I have one 357 and another one that can be a 357. But anyways. So I'm making my own pellet probe. I had to make my own parts for the barrel also. I'm just getting myself a coffee because it's kind of late, and well, an espresso. I don't know if I ever mentioned or showed you guys, but I have a Starbucks espresso machine from a good friend of mine. Did you see this thing? This is literally what you see when you walk into Starbucks. They pay like 25 grand for them, and you can't even buy them. Only Starbucks can. But I got one. I actually got 2, but I can only use one because I only have one of the black boxes that plug into them. Anyways, so this shit keeps me going. But so where's the barrel? I ended up having to make a lot more parts for the barrel than I anticipated. So I think I might put it over here. So what I was planning on doing, hold on, let me wait till I get back. I thought the 25 caliber, this nut and the washers and everything would fit, and just you know, tighten this barrel in after I had cut it, which I already did and polished it. That didn't happen. So here's the nut from the 25. So I had to use my own. I had to make my own, and I had to use bigger washers and so I made that nut. And I also had to make the spacer that goes in the middle out of a piece of brass. So I did exactly what they do, only I just made it myself and took my own measurements and all that. So that's how far along I am. The barrel's ready to go. I just have to put the the spacers on it and put it in the shroud. And the end of the shroud is for a 25, so it's not a big deal. But I'll show you how I'm doing on the pin probe. Which this part, I'm pretty, I'm kind of surprising myself. It's coming out really good. So I took a piece of bar stock of, this is steel bar stock. I machined it down to the right diameter. I took it out, put it in the CNC machine, and I made this hole right here, this in the pellet probe. That hole right there, I made that hole in the CNC machine. And then I drilled it out in the center, back on the lathe, and that's where I left off. And it all came out surprisingly well, because those were some hard cuts to make, because they're very close tolerances. But I did it. It's good to go. So let's let you take a look at it. So that's what I have so far. Let's see what you can see. So there we go. Yeah, you can see it. There's the hole that I had to drill and the hole that I had to machine on the CNC. And then this I'm obviously going to, so here's the original 25, and you see like the hole started breaking before I even got to the diameter, so I just started from scratch. So I'm going to take this out and clean up that part, make sure this length is perfect, and then I'm going to measure this, and then I'm going to actually put this, I'm going to machine this down to this diameter, which it looks like it gets wider. I have to measure it, but I'm going to do it exactly the way this is. And then I'm even going to cut this angle and stamp 22 on it. So I'm going to make this legit like came out of the factory. So I don't want to make a crazy long video because it's not a 2-minute job, but maybe I'll make a clip every little bit and let you guys see how the job's going, because it's just going to be too long of a video, and these videos have been too long. I mean, you guys probably don't even want to watch them because they're so long, because I don't want to watch them when I'm reviewing them because they're too long, and really a lot of the stuff I do you can't do quickly. So I gotta find a middle ground somewhere. There's just no way to do it quickly, especially not when you're explaining it as you go. So I mean, I guess it does slow me down a little bit, but I don't mind because I've been getting good feedback that people are actually like learning from what I'm showing them, and that makes it worth it. I mean, that's really why I do this. So if it's getting to people like that, then it's worth it. So I don't care if it slows me down a little bit. This was my idea before. I made the end piece after that started chipping, and I was going to cut this off and weld it onto the original, which I could have done, because once I weld it, you would think I'd have the grind marks and stuff, but I would machine it with the lathe, so it would take the weld off, and it would look like it was never even there. But I would just have to make sure it got perfectly straight, which this is the way to make sure it's perfectly straight with dial indicators and micrometers and all that fun stuff. That's how you really make sure it's right. So that's what I'm doing. So I will stop it here, and I'll put all these clips together for one video when I'm done. But I'm going to take another clip in a little bit after this part is pretty much done. Maybe once I'm going to put it in the vise in the CNC, and I'm going to machine that 45 at the back, and then I'm going to stamp the 22. I have stamps that you hammer in for keys that I make for the real estate stuff that I do. I use those for the properties, and I mark the address number or the unit number or whatever it is on the key, and then I have a couple key machines, so I cut keys too. But I've been doing that for years. But the number stamping is something that is fairly simple. You just hammer it in with a mini sledge or something. So you can see I used kind of a long piece of bar stock, but I put it in pretty far because once this gets narrow like this, it gets a little frail. So, I mean, this is some good steel. This is better than what they actually use from FX. I mean, this is steel. It's magnetic, so it's some sort of steel, but it's not this kind of steel. It might be, I mean, the finish came out just as good. I mean, really, actually, mine is cleaner. Look at the lathe imperfections on theirs. Really, look at that right there, and look at mine. My lathe marks are so much finer. It's better than theirs. Literally. This one is almost perfect. Yeah, this one was finished, polished, sanded and polished. But once I sand and polish this, you won't even see anything. So, in the next clip, you'll see that. So I'm gonna break here. Not even 10 minutes, so that's good. I'm gonna break here. I'm gonna do some more work on this, and then I'll make another clip and add them all together at the end so that we can shorten these videos a little bit while still giving you as much information as possible. Okay? All right. Sounds good, guys. Bye. All right, guys. So I'm back. I finished machining it on the lathe. This is the full length, and you can see if you look in there. Let me bring you over here and see what you can see. So if you see the mark on it, there, let me lower you down a little bit. If you see the mark on the work, that's the line where the original one was. So I'm just going down little by little to get it down to that spot. I'll show you as I'm going. I'm just going really slow. I got it on 6,500 RPM, so it's going pretty quick. So it's not having any trouble going through the steel. This thing actually can do titanium. It can machine titanium. So I can put it on 8,000 RPM. But 6,500 obviously goes right through the steel even with that little bit. Just about there. So you see where that line is? That's where I'm going to be done, and then I just have to mark it 22, which you probably needed to be on a little bit more of an angle, but that doesn't need to be perfect. That's just, you know, aesthetics. Okay, so I think one more pass and I'm good, and then I just have to drill the hole for the set screw, and that's that. We're done with the probe, and that's the shot tray is already done. I have to just show you guys that. Okay, that's it. Put this on a cooker. Put that back. Let me get you guys over here. All right, let's open up this vise. Now, that looks just like an FX pin probe, doesn't it? Pellet probe, because it is. It is an FX pellet probe. It's the same damn thing. All right. So, you see the back is cornered just like the original. It's the same diameter as the original. Actually, the bevel is actually pretty damn perfect. So you look at that. Look at the original compared to the new one. It's pretty damn close. Pretty damn perfect if you ask me. So That's I'm good with that. I'm very happy with that. Once I clean and polish that, sand and polish that, and stamp 22, this you're not going to be able to tell the difference. If I could anodize it, which I hate anodizing because it scratches so easily. But that's why I do powder coating. That's why I have the oven back here to bake it. I literally put a gas oven in here from one of the houses just so I can powder coat. But it served me well. I powder coat my silencers. I powder coat all the stuff that I make that's gonna go on an air gun or anything that I care to what it looks like. But I'm gonna go ahead and sand and polish this whole thing. The barrel's done. I just have to put the spacers on it and the shroud. This is about to be done. My single shot tray's done, and I've got a couple magazines. I asked Doug, and he's awesome. He sent me the jerseys for the shooting competition. He's sent me a lot of stuff to test, which benefits him, but benefits me as well. And the response I get for Doug, I'm gonna buy a couple online. Do you think you could bring them to the competition with you? Chris, I just overnighted you. I overnighted them to you. You'll have them tomorrow. I'm like, dude, don't waste the money shipping. And you have a company. It has to make money. Like, I don't expect him to do that for me. But so what I did is I said I've got a whole assortment of slugs, and I bought him a thing that I just recently bought as a gift, as a way to reciprocate, because. Like I say, I do this because it's a good company. He's a good guy. You see what I mean? He is a good guy. He's a really good guy. So this is a level, like the other digital level I was using the other day, if you guys saw it. But when you put it flat, so let me turn you so you can see it. When you put it flat, you have your x-axis and your y-axis. And it's like a digital bubble level. So it's pretty awesome for guys that do machining work. Anybody that does this type of stuff would really have a good use for it, both on the lathe, the CNC, especially on the CNC, for me anyways. But I have more use for it there than I do on the lathe. But I do have use for it on the lathe. I mean, I have to check the pieces that are in here to make sure that they're level. So it's just more times that I would use it on one thing that on the CNC than I would on the lathe when I'm doing it manually. I mean, you only have to do it once when you're doing it, when you're programming it. But the programming takes so long on a part like this. I machined this. This one was quick. This one, honestly, the single shot tray took me longer than this part. These are easy things. These gun parts are simple. The silencers are a little time consuming because of the threads, the inner and outer threads on two caps and on both sides of the centerpiece. But the baffles in the middle, that part's easy. I mean, just machining the middle with the lathe. A lot of stuff with the lathe and the CNC that you can do manually is really quick, especially if it's stuff I've done before because I'm familiar and I just go right to it. When it's something new that I'm just making, like the shot tray, the single shot tray, then it's foreign, so you have to learn it. And the second shot tray on the crown went a lot quicker than the first one on the HM1000X because I had just done it on the HM1000X, so it was familiar. So anyways, it's all relative. You guys, you pick up stuff as you go. If you're interested in learning anything, and a couple guys said to me, "Oh, I wish you had your skill set." I'm like, "You do. Call me anytime you need something. If you need help, if you want to pick my brain, whatever, you have access to it anytime. You can message me, and I'll give you my email. You can email me, call me, whatever. I'm happy to. I really am. Sometimes it's a bad time and I can't do it right then." But I'll always get back to you, and I'll always try to help people out. That's what this is all about. That's why I'm doing these videos. So why not, when I'm going to do this anyway, why not take, especially now with this GoPro, this thing is so tiny, it makes it a lot easier. And once I put the microphone on it, it'll sound just as good. But why not hit record while I'm doing it and try to help some people out? And with YouTube, you can reach so many people just by making one video. It's amazing. So hopefully one of you guys gets something from any of these videos I make, but hopefully this one too. And if, like I said, if any of you guys have questions or you don't know how to do part of this or whatever, hit me up. I'll help you out. Okay? Later. Hey guys, so as promised, I'm just filling up. I just got my second 9-liter tank got delivered today with my actual pellets I'm going to be using for the under 20 foot-pound events, which there's 2 of. So I decided to go with heavier pellets and less velocity. So I'm using these H&N Barracuda match. These are they're match grade 21.14 grain. So because these guns were so hard to get down to 20 foot-pounds in the first place, so I'm shooting them 630 to 650 feet a second to stay within the 20.
33.
I can actually go up a notch.
661.
But anyways, the conclusion to this video is supposed to be about this gun. So let me take this out. Now the shot tray's done. I did the barrel. I got everything in, and this thing was shooting like beyond sub-MOA at this range at 50 yards, and it was like with my zeroing all turned into one hole once I got it accurate. So it's one big hole, but it was a couple of magazines, which, speaking of a couple of magazines, I already got my magazines from Doug, which is why I tell you guys that he's awesome. He really is. Where did I put them? Right here. So I got 22 caliber Crown magazines, but I do want to show you that the shot tray works. So there's the shot tray that I made. We put a pellet in here, slide it right in, boom, done. And this is the pellet probe that I made. I'll show you a close-up of that. And it's also the barrel that I did. So I have to readjust this too because I was shooting lighter pellets through it before. But I'll show you close up real quick. This is, here, let me get the back screen on. There we go. This is that's the shot tray you can see there. Here's the pellet probe. You can see I stamped it 22. And in the barrel, I mean, I'm not going to take the barrel apart, but I got the sleeve in there. I cut it. I got everything did right. And I actually could have left another inch onto the end because they make the shroud a little longer than the barrel, and actually all of them. And I knew that, and I didn't think of it. So I'm kind of pissed at myself for that. But I'm going to use the magazines for now, but obviously you see the shot tray works, and if you can hold it in there and just drop the pellet in and then keep it in, or you can put the pellet in and then slide it in, but it works perfectly. Everything's lined up, and because of Doug, who's the man, I got these magazines already. Oh, you know what? It's because my probe is just a hair long. Yeah, my probe is a hair long. It wasn't giving me any issues with my magazine because I made my magazine, my probe, I made it the right size. I made a bevel in it in the back that it was taking the pellet probe in one side to keep it lined up and the barrel in the other. But I'm gonna have to just sand that down a little bit. Really like a tiny, tiny bit. Hold on one second. I could probably do it with a file. Oh, and like I was saying, as promised, I got the sound, so you guys can come with me with the sound. Not that you need to for this, but when I put you up there to see how the accuracy is. But that Crown is incredibly accurate as it was as a 25. It's now that accurate as a 22. But the point of that is that I custom made it into a 22, and you guys can do the same thing. So that's, if you guys have a different caliber than you want, or you want to be able to change, then get a different size shroud, obviously. The shroud can also be modified on its own. You can make threads on that. I don't know, depending on what kind of tools you have and don't have. But if you decide you want to do that, I'd be happy to give you some guidance on, what ideas to try to put together based on what you do or don't have and what you can and can't make. But my thing is that, unfortunately, I've found out over the years I mean, one time in 6 months, in a 6-month period, I had 13 assistants. I had to let people go that fast that I was able to have 13 different assistants in 6 months. And I had 2 of them for a decent period of time because they were great. They left for, one of them had been in a wheelchair as a kid, and her injury was recurring and she couldn't make the stairs, and I didn't own the building at the time, and I told her, if you stick with it for a little while, you can even work from home. You know, when I buy the building, which I hadn't done yet, but I knew I was going to, when I buy the building, I'll give you an office upstairs. And she couldn't hang in there for that with me, unfortunately, but you know, things happen. Oh, I was just gonna grab a file because it's literally that little of an amount. I can just file it. So she didn't stay around, unfortunately. She was awesome though. She knew the software already. I didn't have to even teach her how to use the property management software. It was a blessing, and then a curse because she had to go. And you know, how could I be upset about that reason? So then I had another really good guy, and he left to go to flight school to become a pilot. And you know, you got to pursue your dreams. Here's my dog. Say hi, Duke. Say hi, Duke. Hi, Duke. Hi, good boy. Come on. Come with Daddy. Come. Come on, good boy. Come on, good boy. All right, so I'm going to just file that down a little bit, and then I'll, that's the first time I put the magazines, obviously. Just last night, I was making the video for you guys with the, making the parts for this gun, and, you know, I talked to Doug. I asked him to send me a couple, or bring a couple of magazines to the competition. He said, I'm overnighting them right now, and I literally got them today. It was very thoughtful of him. So I'm not hitting the block. This is just hitting the pellet probe that I just made. Well, almost there. Well, that's starting to go through. It's just about there. Sorry, this wasn't supposed to be part of the video, but I just discovered this myself. I've been trying to make the videos a little shorter because unfortunately a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to show you guys how to do isn't stuff that can be done quickly. You know, it's just not. It can't be done quickly. A lot of it can't be done quickly. There's just no faster way to do it. See how that does. It's still too long. It's just a hair long. And I actually made it a little long and I forgot about it until today when I was putting in the shot tray, and then I beveled that out, and then not thinking about the magazines, because I didn't have any 22 magazines for the Crown. It's coming back to bite me now because I don't want to have to modify these magazines. There we go. Nice. All right.
775.
Oh, I got to turn that down. Yeah, that's 28 pounds of energy. On this gun, I'm using a 1 to 10 Viper PST by Vortex.
738, 25.6.
That was 707. I got it on the one up front.
700, 1.
701.
0.
You know what? Sometimes if I turn the spring up too much, that'll lower the velocity also, because it has that plateau, and when you go over it.
700.
Yeah,
12,
see?
23.8. 700. 33. 25.2. 789.
That's going back up. All right, I gotta turn the regulator down a notch. 1 second. I'm putting together my little essential toolkit for while I'm doing the competition. I mean, I'm gonna have more tools in my truck, but just in case something needs to be adjusted or something needs to be fixed, like the last competition for me. So just turn it a tiny bit. All right, let's see where we are on the rig. I think I gotta go down a little bit more.
690.
A little bit more.
22.6. 710.
How did it just go up when I turned the rig down?
7.
Just turn the hammer down, see what that does. All right. Maybe if I turn it up too high now, because it's going to be very light. So if it hits it harder, it's just going to be a very quick burst of air.
900.
No, that's definitely not going to work.
40.8.
I mean, it's hard going from, you know, I'm usually using 48 grain, 25 caliber, 41 to, or 40 to 42 grain, 22 caliber. Oops. And then I'm using, you know, up to 70 grain, 30 caliber, and I'm using up to 200 grain, 35 caliber.
675.
That's where I need to be. All right, get the ultra pot under here. Actually, no, I can't use that for this part of the competition, so let's do this. I gotta get this zeroed, let me find a fresh spot. Okay.
123.0. 728.4.
Alright, that's too fast.
9.
Alright, just until I get the velocity right, I'm gonna rest it on here. I'm gonna turn the rag in a tiny hair more. Because, yeah, I'm not even down that far. I'm only down to like 145. Alright. But that barrel I made is shooting straight as hell. That was 710 up there.
$728, 24.9. 752, 26.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shave that down a little more because this is giving me a little bit of a hard. Well, no, if I pull it back while I put it in, but I don't want to have to do that every time, so I'll just shave it down a little tiny bit more. But it's extremely accurate with the barrel that I did, and
900.
yeah, that's gone way higher. Let's see if I go all the way too high, if it'll just hit the valve really quick and not let a lot of air out. Yeah, it's still too high. All right, all the way down. And a little bit more regulator. So right now, while I'm doing this, I did a video actually to start showing you guys. One of my other hobbies is drones. FPV drones, DJI drones. I have a Mavic 3 Sin. I have an FPV, an Avada, an Air 2S.
72. 35.
Why is that? Oh, I'm way up on the rack. I mean on the...
756.
So and then I just got an actual full-on FPV. This is my first full-on FPV. Like it's a I actually turned my Avada into the 3.5-inch axis flying.
740.
Which did make a difference for sure. But
700.
oh my God, it's going up.
29.9.
So I did that, and that's been a pretty serious FPV drone since. But I wanted a real legit FPV, so I got a
700.
an iFlight Nazgul Nazgul something Nazgul Evoke 5, which is a 6S drone.
800.
What the hell? It's going higher with the lower reg.
1.
My reg is almost down to 100. And these are 20 grain, 21 grain. I might just have to go to medium on this flow thing. The port adjustment, the transfer port adjustment, I mean, I know that's going to turn it right down. I just don't like actually tampering with that thing. And it's so hard to turn. I'm going to need this, which is why it's in my little essential toolkit. There we go. And then once I put this to medium, it's going to immediately be much slower. I didn't want to mess with it, which is why I haven't done it yet. Well, that turned it down. So let me go back out with the reg. So it'll make that valve a little harder to hit. It gives you a totally new appreciation for these mag loaders. Like now I'm using pellets and I'm using it for the impact, which is a 28 round magazine. So not having to load that, and
700.
I had the lighter pellets that I had already had in there, and I just emptied 4 of those and filled them back up with the heavier ones and 4 of these and filled them back up, and it took me all of like 5 minutes. No, that's not doing it. Let's see if I go all the way too high now.
879.
No, I'm not gonna do it. It's gonna go down lower than at the plateau, but it's not gonna be low enough for this. Where's my, it's not even as high as it was, so I'm going to turn it up a lot because it's going to make that valve a lot harder to hit. And this is not modified. This has a stock hammer, stock spring. There we go. 21 foot-pounds of energy. So I need to be about 650. So I could have gone with the 14 grain and gone about 800, but I think the heavier ones are going to be better with the wind. I'm just putting a new target up real quick so I can make sure that that's zeroed, and then I'll show you guys a group with it after I zero it. But just so you can see that, you know, the parts that I made myself, I mean, you see them working. I'm firing it back to back right now, but I want you to see that it's actually working downrange with the barrel modifications. And it most certainly is. I've been shooting it with the lighter pellets, and it's been doing very well. And then I also need to try my HM1000X with these pellets, because they're a little heavier. I might have that down to 20 foot-pounds as well, and then I'll have to make a decision on which gun to use. The impact I'm using for sure, but that's got a great scope on it also. The HM1000X. That's got it's got the DMR3, the Bushnell Elite Tactical DMR3, which is another great scope. I spent entirely too much on rifle scopes. I mean, it's not too much to me because I'm passionate about it, which is like with the drones. I mean, I work hard for my money for sure, but I spend it on stuff like that because, number one, I don't have any children yet. Number two, well, that's really number one and number two. Number three, I take care of my fiance. It's not like she goes without anything. It's not like I'm not doing the same kind of stuff for her. I mean, I got her a car for Christmas, for our anniversary, $10,000 diamond earrings, and she doesn't want any of it. She's not a money girl. She's not like that. She really, I mean, the earrings, I think she's worn them 3 times. So, you know, she really wants more of my time, which is the hardest thing for me to give her. And I want to give her more of my time, but between all the hobbies I have, that she's not really into most of them. And then the work that I do, and then the work that I do here for myself, makes it complicated. But that's why I'm looking for a single family, and it's going to have, I told the realtor, minimum 5 to 6 acre lot, away from neighbors. The house has to be away from the neighbors, like on the central in the property or back in the property, so that I can shoot, I can use my machines, I can do all my stuff that makes noise without people complaining. Because where I live now, I can't even turn a wrench outside without getting a complaint. So that's not something I'm gonna tolerate for much longer. But I mean, I have another place to do it, which is why I've been able to stay there. But at the same time, I don't want to deal with it. I want to be able to do that stuff at home so I could spend more time with her and be home. And especially when we have kids, I really want to be home and be doing this kind of stuff with them, if they want to do it. Which usually, at least when they're kids, they always want to do what their daddy is doing. Oh, the motion sensor light went out. Hang on. And if you guys could just let me know how you think the sound is and how you think the video is with this GoPro. I got the mic adapter for it, so these are the Sennheiser mics I was using before. So it should be just the video that's a little different. It seems clear to me when I've reviewed the videos before I put them up. And I already reviewed the videos that are coming before this one. So once I'm done with this, I'll upload it and I'll finish packing and getting ready for the competition because I'm leaving tomorrow.
600.
Oh, that's damn close right there.
21.0.
Nice.
20.4.
I think it was just 1/4 MOA, right?
600.
Look at that same hole.
20.
And this is my zeroing card, and it's all in one hole already. 3 shots.
600.
Let me show you guys real quick.
20.
I want you to see the accuracy with the rifle and the probe that I did. That is the point of this video. This is the last segment that I'm going to put from the making the change. So that right there is, since I changed the target, those 4 shots are in that one hole in the center. So it looks a little small, but it's a tiny screen, but I'm sure you can see it now. It's that one hole. So this thing is crazy accurate. Here, I'm going to leave you here for a minute, and I'll do a few more shots and let me know what you think. And soon, when I get back, I'm going to set up my Pro Crony right in front of that target there, and then I'm going to set up the FX down here, and I'm going to start getting some real accurate ballistic coefficiency measurements and calculations, and show you guys how to do that. That was me.
21.1. 600.
This 2 to 10 Vortex is so damn clear. It really is.
600.
And I mean, I've been shooting out of a zero compromise. That's what I was just shooting out of before this. So for me to say that after looking through that, or for me to notice that after looking through that, is kind of a big deal. I had the Element Titan, and I had to return it. That thing, it was good in here because this is only 50 yards, but you take that thing to, I mean, I took it straight to 100.
600.
And at 100 yards, it was like you couldn't get the between the diopter and the range focus, the parallax, between the two of them, you could not get even something resembling a clear picture. I mean, it's just an impossible scope to use long range. It's a horrible scope. I don't know why it's priced as high as it is, because it's just frankly not worth it. Honestly, I don't think I would pay. At this point, I have too many scopes. I honestly wouldn't even take it for free. I don't have any guns that would be good with it. I would take it for free, and I would offer it to you guys. I would do like a drawing or something. Honestly, that's what I would do with it.
668.
Right.
21.
Getting closer to where I need to be on velocity and energy.
700.
Of course, you're gonna go up now. As soon as the rig settles in. I guess I need another Huma regulator. I have Huma regulators in all my FX guns. 2 FX Impacts, both have them. One of the 2 FX Crowns, the Pantera, I have to get it for the other FX Crown. My Ed gun has the Raptor Huma regulator.
600.
They just really make the best regulators. They really do.
2.
So as I turn up this regulator, this valve rod is going to get harder and harder to push. So the hammer should do less and less. And the speed should go down as a result.
600.
But you notice I'm making adjustments and I'm not losing accuracy.
0.
A little lower.
68.
Yeah, because my velocity is down.
0.
We'll go half an MOA down.
600. 54.
Oh, this is a lot of shots for
Point.
an FX Crown because of the 22 caliber I'm not used to.
$661.
61. All right, I'm gonna go.
Point. 5.
It's 20.5 foot-pounds, so I gotta go a little bit more, make it a little harder to hit that valve, and a little bit less air coming out that way.
$663.
Alright, that's going up. Let's go a little more. Alright, we gotta go more.
2.1.
So if anybody needs a stock regulator from FX, I have quite a few of them.
7.
A couple of them are brand new. I had the regulator before I had the gun.
677.
All right, a little more. See, this is the part. I wasn't deliberately doing a tuning video. I just wanted you guys to see the accuracy of the gun after the modifications I made, because doing a serious modification to the barrel like that is something that you have to do like well, or you're not going to have accuracy like that, that's for sure.
21.
Like this.
2. 600.
Even the pellet probe makes a big difference.
22.4.
All right, it's not at the point where it's going to make it hard enough for that valve to open yet. So I need to give it some more pressure. And you know what? I should fill it up. I need to put some air in it because it's not really moving much. I have a full tank right here. So I have those two converted oxygen tanks, but I didn't really want to have to bring them because they're a pain in the neck to carry without the wheel thing on it, and I'm not going to wheel around the oxygen tank. So I got another 9-liter bottle, so I have 2 9-liters and then a 2-liter to keep with me at the bench. Oh, let's see. Well, the regulator's up higher than I want it now. That's what it was. And then I put a valve on the airline, and then an inline bleeder, so you can bleed out the tip of the line. So right after the valve is the bleeder and then the fitting. So this way I can, this is probably going to be real slow. This way I can you know, leave the hose filled with air and not keep it going to the gun. Oh yeah, that was too slow. It was 517. Okay, so maybe I'll leave the reg up that high and just turn the hammer until I get where I need to be. It's at 180. That made it nice and hard for it to hit. All right, so let's just turn it up a couple notches till I get in the range I need to be at. See how low that is? 563 now. I don't even think I hit the bullet box the last time.